and then I heard again, but like louder, and I was like, that definitely isn't Turner. So I ended up like going and kind of like peeking out the window, and all I saw was a plaid like jacket.
Like a thermal.
But I knew it was a
jacket.
man. I only saw like his shoulder, and I was like, there's a fucking guy in a plaid red jacket banging on the door, because the last bang that he did had kind of like a scratching sound. And I was like, no fucking way.
And that's kind of when I started to feel like maybe we were going to die. All right. Ho, 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 everybody. Welcome to another episode of our podcast. As you can see, we are sitting in this luxurious cabin in the middle of the woods. Dun, dun, dun.
That's real.
What's real?
The dun, dun, dun.
Why do you like to be so far away from the mic?
I'm really I literally have the mic on the couch with me.
I have to turn her audio up past mine because I know she stays at least 6 inches from the mic.
That's not true. I have a very monotone voice, unless I get like excited about something. But even then, it's just
good for reading
monotone.
Ghost stories.
Yeah.
And boy, do we have a horror story for you guys. All right. So Merry Christmas, everyone. I know it's getting close to Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
So yeah, we booked this spot in the Pocono Mountains. We're in East Stroudsburg right now, actually. And the woods here are really, really, really nice.
Really scary, too. They are beautiful, but they're very scary.
This is Bigfoot country out here.
Yeah, it is. And other things country.
All right, so I'll let Sammy get into it because she was the one who had the brunt of our little vacation turning into in so many ways the script to a horror film. But I rented this place about 3 weeks ago on Airbnb, and basically I just found it because I was looking up like secluded cabins in the woods, and this is the coolest one probably visually that came up, and also like the coziest one. We got indoor fireplace. The whole thing's logs, as you guys can see. Look at the setting that we're sitting in. This is only one corner of it, and it's very secluded off on a dirt road, off of another back road, off of another back road. So we were supposed to appear here in daylight hours without rain, and that didn't happen. So
I guess I'll start from the beginning. So obviously this is the very first trip that we've been on with Finley. For those of you who don't know, that is our 4-month-old daughter. She's sleeping right now. So
she's an adventurer, though. She loves this place.
She does like this place a lot. But as a mom, as a first-time mom, I wanted everything to be perfect, right? Like I just wanted to. I overpacked, just in case. Even though we're only here for 3 days, I overpacked because I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted Finley to be as comfortable.
You didn't even pack a bathing suit for the hot tub.
That
you didn't pack any clothes. Look what you're wearing. She overpacked costumes.
No. I overpacked for Finley.
Oh, for the baby, but not for yourself.
This is what I'm saying. So I overpacked for Finn because I wanted her to be as comfortable here as she is at home.
She was pretty comfortable.
She's like,
she's dead asleep right now in the
overly comfortable because I overpacked for her.
So actually we bought what is that thing called? The Porta-Play? What is that thing called? The Pack and Play?
Yeah.
The Pack and Play thing that busts open and we haven't even taken it out of the box yet because the hosts of this Airbnb set one up for us because I told them we were bringing our baby. So
that was really, really cool that they did that. It was like brand new.
I think I don't know. I can't shout anyone out because I really have no idea who did that, but thank you.
Maybe the guy next door.
No way. No way.
We'll get to that.
He was too busy just digging your grave earlier.
Maybe. I don't know.
So, yeah. So we got everything ready for Finn. And
I got everything ready for Finn.
I got all the stuff ready.
No, but he sure as hell packed it in the car.
I packed all this stuff.
Yeah. So that's true. That's very true. So we're a half an hour into driving, and
mind you, she told me before that 3 hours was really, really long. To take Finn on the road, and I was thinking like, nah, she'd just sleep the whole time. Like 3 hours would almost be like the perfect amount of time for her to like not freak out. But then she added an extra hour onto the trip. I was just
thinking like 3 hours with your husband is a very long time.
Really? Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. But all right.
Good thing I'm not. Good thing I'm Santa Claus this trip.
All right, listen. Before I keep forgetting what I'm about to say. 30 minutes into driving, I'm like, fuck. I forgot the most important thing on the trip, which was her pre-packed formulas that I had made in the little cooler that I had bought for her. I left it in the fridge. I had 3 bottles made up for her, and I left them. So I was like, we got to turn around. We didn't really have a choice.
And I kept it together. I kept it cool because I realized clearly it wasn't just your fault. You just felt like it was your fault because you're the one who's responsible for the bottles, but we both left them. So I kept it cool at that point.
And like,
but you didn't. You thought I was mad.
Because you know what? I didn't realize until like now in life, now that I'm 31, that I'm one of those people that like everything kind of has to go as planned. And
she's trying to say she's anal.
I'm very anal, and I have OCD
to the point where it's over the top.
And he is the exact opposite. So if you can imagine, as a husband and wife, that gets very frustrating at times.
I planned everything in my head, though.
It usually doesn't go as planned. Oh shit, Turner! Ever. I don't know if anything's ever going to plan.
But you know how like you have a math like long division or something in your head, and you try to do it in your head? Like clearly a couple steps along the way get way twisted, and like you end up with the craziest answer ever.
For you.
Yeah, for everybody.
Every time.
When was the last time you did long division in your head?
Listen, never.
There you go. There you go.
Never. Not
so that's
once
the
in my
thing.
life.
So life is kind of like long division. Like you can't really take the shortcut of the calculator in life. It's long division.
I wasn't trying to take a shortcut. I was just trying to make sure that I didn't forget what I had.
Yeah, because
set out
life
to do.
is unpredictable.
Okay, so the point being is just, you know,
pack
some coping
your
skills
bottles.
if
pack your
things
bottles.
don't go to plan. So you don't have a conniption like I did. Like I was just really, really frustrated with myself. So that happened. That was whatever. We drove 30 minutes back to pick up the bottles, and then we're back on our way. And then
so then we drove 2 hours. So we drove from Somers Point, New Jersey, where we live,
to Rockaway,
New Jersey.
We had
not to be mistaken with Rockaway, New York.
True. That's a good point.
Because it's totally different.
So there was a rest stop before this exit to Rockaway, but it was closed. So we were like, all right, this is the next exit. So we got off in Rockaway, and when we went to the gas station, there was smoke coming out of the back right tire. And that obviously I was like, no, fucking why could this possibly be happening? But I wasn't really surprised with that because it is the Cadillac, and our Caddy is known to have problems.
Although
I
did take it to the shop to get a tune-up and a checkup, well, an oil change, and they replaced a little sensor piece and checked everything on the car. before the trip in preparation, knowing that Sammy was going to have a conniption if the slightest thing went wrong. So when we did stop and she was saying all this stuff about the car, I was just thinking like, yeah, sure, the car's breaking down, yeah. And then,
I'm always right though.
And then when we started driving again,
because I was like, something smells weird before we even got off.
When you told me, like,
and then when we stopped, I got out immediately and went and smelled. I was like, this is crazy. Like I knew it, but this one over here is one of those who's just like, nah, it's fine. We'll just run until the wheels fall off.
It's the truck in front of us. That's what I always say.
But the thing is, it's just different. It's different. It's different now It's different now than it was when it was just us two. As a mom, yeah, you're just really, really anal. Like my whole purpose in life right now is to make sure that Finley is safe.
That's true.
That's it.
That's true. And that's a good
it's
purpose.
The same for dads too, but it's just with a mom, it's like I'll die. Is this not close? Okay, are we good now?
All right. So what I was saying is I didn't really believe her fully, even though I could see the smoke and smell it. I was just thinking it was like, not a big deal. Let's move on.
It's the car next to us.
So then we started driving and no brakes. So I just stopped dead, like hit the brakes as much as possible and stopped because we only had driven like 5 miles an hour, not even fast. But there was like stabilizing system warnings and stuff on the front. So we realized at that point we could no longer drive the car to our destination in that condition. And I proceeded to rent a U-Haul van. Here's a picture of it right here. It's actually a really nice van. It only had 5,000 miles on it. Probably the least amount of miles out of any car I've driven in my life.
Oh, but the horror movie aspect, okay. So he had to get that U-Haul, right? But I had the Uber app from God knows when. I have no idea why I even had the Uber app. I've taken an Uber once, maybe.
I had it too, though.
Weird. So either way, he had to go get that. He had to take an Uber because we couldn't drive the car, right? He had to take an Uber to the U-Haul place. So he went by himself. Meanwhile, I'm in Rockaway, which I don't know the other parts of Rockaway, but the gas station we were at wasn't like...
It was one of those gas stations that just has a booth and no inside section, and the outside bathrooms were both closed.
It wasn't inviting, I'll just say that.
It's one of those.
It's one of those. And...
But also, if you guys didn't know, so every single gas station in New Jersey has a gas attendant, and it's not like that in other states, so they do have like a little homie shack that they hang out in. That's what we used to call our chill area downstairs.
I mean, that's pretty much what it is.
So like there's always somebody just, milling around, like loitering. That's waiting for somebody to, you know what I mean?
These are milling around.
That's waiting for somebody to come up so they can be like, you need some gas? Like, because that's the only reason you would be there. So there's always someone milling around.
So he took an Uber to the U-Haul place, and me and Finn are in the Cadillac back in Rockaway at this gas station, parked on the side in the parking lot, the little parking lot that they had. And that in itself, for the horror movie aspect, was scary. And I know a lot of people would probably be like, oh, it's dangerous for you and your baby. But at the end of the day, that is life. And I did record a little bit of myself in the car because I had a breakdown because it was just like so frustrating, like just another thing. This trip, obviously, no trip like this with a 4-month-old would ever be relaxing, fun, but there's no such thing as like actually relaxing. We're, technically we're working too, so it's just whatever. That was just scary because like I'm in an unfamiliar town called Rockaway. For one, Rockaway just sounds like the title of a horror movie.
It's not Rockaway Beach, I'll tell you. But
he comes back with the
So here's the repair list. So they actually did fix the car. Should I talk about this or no?
Maybe when we get to that part, because we're part. Still the.
We got the U-Haul. I got the U-Haul. Came back. And so there's horror movies playing in people's minds all the time. Because the lady in the Uber was saying she doesn't like to pick up a lot of people at a time because she doesn't feel safe doing it. So she only takes one person rides, and that's why she picked me up because I was only one person. So obviously in her mind there was a horror movie playing in her head.
Wow, that's a confident lady, actually, because if you...
Yeah, and there's no, like...
Because
you know,
one
in a
person
cab,
might freak me out more
like
than
a traditional
couple.
cab, how it's separated like a police car. Mm-hmm. In the Uber, it's just like, what is that?
Wait, did you go in the front seat?
No, in the back seat, but that's even creepier for
That's
her.
what I'm saying. That's why I was asking. But
I went in the back both times. So then we decided to trudge on.
So, well, yeah, and we had to unload. Well, Turner did it because I was just kind of like, I was just so exhausted. He unloaded everything out of the Cadillac into the U-Haul van.
It was a 9-footer, though. Shit was sick.
It was sick, minus like the front seats, but
That did have that separator, though.
crazy. It did have the separator.
But either way, yeah. We were 2.5 hours away from home and like 50 minutes from here. So we decided our best case scenario was take the Cadillac to the shop, take the U-Haul to the cabin, come back for the Cadillac, which I did do today. So now we have the Cadillac fixed and ready for the actual ride home. So that was the smartest, safest bet. So we decided to trudge on. You know, we lost two hours.
You said that so briefly. I feel like that's hard to understand.
I decided to trudge on. And you were in no state of mind to make any decisions, so you just decided
clearly,
to go with me.
That's a lie, because I'm the one who found the... Oh, my God, this guy's an idiot. So...
How?
So, this is what happened.
So hot, dear.
Well, yeah, you're probably hot in that.
This fire is toasting right now.
The fire is very nice. So, unless he did explain that well, I feel like even for me, when I'm like, I lived through it, that was confusing. So, he comes back with the U-Haul, unloads everything out of the Cadillac.
Yo, check out this picture
U-Haul.
of the U-Haul plates, though. Bam, horror movie.
Okay.
You didn't have to experience that one, though.
Oh, yeah. So, he unloaded everything into the U-Haul. I called the closest mechanic, which was 5 minutes away, right?
Like, it was like
I don't even know.
20 minutes. It was so far away. The U-Haul was 20 minutes the other direction. We lost like 2 hours just getting the car.
It was 0.5 miles. That's what it was. All right, it was 0.5 miles. D&M.
It was so far away. Are you kidding? Oh, wait,
No,
from the
U-Haul-
Exxon. Whatever. Yeah, okay.
The U-Haul was 20 minutes away.
Okay,
The mechanic was...
Very close.
It was only 5 minutes down the road. It literally
not
was
even.
Like
it was like
across.
3 minutes.
So he drove the Cadillac, and was it driving fine? Because I don't even remember.
It was driving fine, so like the brakes weren't sticking or anything at that point.
And then we ended up dropping it off there. The guy was really, really nice. That was another thing that I was kind of scared about, because it's iffy going to a mechanic that you know. So being in the middle of wherever where we don't know anybody, to trust a mechanic was a little bit stressful for me, I'm not gonna lie.
But they had good reviews on Yelp, so.
And I was having like, I don't know.
Settled
I just wasn't feeling it because of the U-Haul van that we had either. Like, he had to strap down Finn's baby seat in the front passenger seat, and like,
which should never be done ever.
Not
but we had no
cool to
choice
me.
because we couldn't rent an actual car because we don't have a credit card with us, and you can't rent a car with a debit card.
So
we had no choice but to rent a U-Haul.
Yeah.
Pro tip.
I was having a panic attack over that too, because it's just like, what else can go wrong?
Everything.
So then, yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say about that situation.
So then we drove all the way down Route 80 going inland.
I don't know, you were driving, right?
No,
I
you were
was
at that
driving.
point. But either way, we drove an hour down that road, and then finally we got
It was
off.
an hour.
And then we get on the back or more back country road, and then we get on to Marshall's Creek Road, and that's kind of when I started to feel like maybe we were gonna die.
So I was driving.
That's
I
why
remember.
we were gonna die. And not because you're bad at driving, but
No.
that road was an absolute animal.
I do not like driving up hills. And this was another thing. I was driving a U-Haul van that I wasn't familiar driving. I do trust my driving over his. That's just how it is for me.
She's a more careful driver, that's for sure. But when I'm in the car when I was in the U-Haul by myself, though, these roads were mincemeat. But I take it easy with the girls.
Yeah, thank you for that. Thank you so much. So I just wasn't having it. I was already having like a nervous breakdown because of what happened with the Cadillac and the smoke, because I forgot I left this out. When it was smoking, there was a giant chunk missing from the car. The mechanic didn't say anything about that. Actually,
I told you it was unrelated.
When he called us the next day, he said nothing's wrong with the car. He said, but if you want me to change this and this, I can do that.
Dean.
So I have no idea, but he was I don't know. He was trustworthy from the way that he looks.
He was a good guy.
I don't know, and the way he sounded.
He was a good guy.
He's nice.
He did nothing to the car and charged us $400.
Oh shit, that could be true though.
How would you ever
know? How would you ever know unless you were a mechanic? You wouldn't. So this is why I have many panic attacks all the time. So.
Nah, he was a good guy.
I broke down.
So we made
mentally when we made it.
We made it to the fork in the road.
Hill.
Like, what is that? Like the head of the trail, the head of the road.
I don't know what you would call
it was just like, no, we didn't. No, I did not rent a cabin on this road, because like the regular back road is so gnarly. It's like
what I was thinking was
carving through mountains and rivers on the sides, and the road's like.
I was thinking I'm not surprised.
And then we get to the actual road that's called Creek Cabin Lane. So there you go. That tells it. Creek and a cabin.
The coziest cabin is what the sign says.
So there's a drop off. And like there's some nice cement for like whoever went and did it. But it goes deep as this table pretty much off the side of the road. And then you're in the road. And then there was a bridge that's literally just wide enough for the car to fit across. Definitely a one-lane bridge. Wow, this is rad. Look at this. It's pouring raining out, but you can't even see anything. Hold on. And that looked like it was from Revolutionary times. And then you get to the trail. All right, here we go. Which is an unpaved road with many, many potholes. But she just froze at the top of this lane and just wouldn't go down it. She fully lost it. So that was the other time we almost died.
No, you were making fun of me because I was so scared. So I was really, really upset, actually, before.
So was
and
I.
Then
you were taking all of your anger out on me during the trip, on the ride here, and I was upset. So then I got mean too.
Yeah, because as a mom, like I take Finn's safety really seriously.
And so do I.
Yeah, but me being upset about it, you need your husband to comfort you, not make fun of you.
That's true. But I was just making fun of you to see how far you would push it, because like I was questioning whether I could even drive on that road the way it was raining out. So like I knew you could do it, but I just wanted you to prove it.
I have no idea what you just said or what that meant. But
like I knew you shouldn't have I knew you didn't want to drive on the road at that point.
Yes, but I was happy. It's like weird because I was happy that I was driving, because I would rather it have been me driving. It's just I was scared. So we switched when we got to the top of this little hill, like where the bridge is.
So there's like a community of log cabins
seat
around here. I don't know. There's like 5. But the address of the cabin that we're at just ends at that little bridge. So then from there, without knowing what it looks like, it was pouring rain out. Pitch black, no street lights, unpaved road, and we couldn't find the cabin. I was just running around with a flashlight while they were in the car.
Which was like a horror film too, because I was like, great, like what am I going to do? You can't even back out of here. I mean, you could, but it was super
You
dark.
could hardly back out.
And I honestly, I forgot that it was pouring rain.
It was so rainy, like it was coming down so thick.
It was bad.
And the thing is, so like the first cabin's abandoned, period. The second cabin. What is the second cabin?
I didn't look around.
We couldn't even see that one. There was like a driveway there, but it was all pitch black. That was the guy who came today that we'll talk about in a minute, and that was freaky too. The cane. But then, so like we passed our cabin and went to the other one, which I would call like the fourth cabin, which looked also abandoned. So I had this gnarly flashlight that someone sent us, and it like lights up like an 8-foot radius in front of you, and you can see everything perfectly. And there was like abandoned cars with like green moss all over them and leaves and sticks and shit, like as if somebody had been killed and their cars were just continuously dumped there.
I can't attest to that because
So
I did not see any of this. So
And I was like, there's no way that's the cabin. So I was like, no, go back. So then I ran all the way back to the other top of the hill, and I saw like the lights that were strung. And I remembered that from the pictures on Airbnb, which also the Airbnb tells a way different story than the Zillow pictures. Because like if they just posted like the Zillow real estate pictures, nobody would ever book this place.
yes, I saw that.
So
The Zillow
scary.
pictures are much different than the inside, like cozy cabin Instagram photo pictures that they have for the Airbnb. But
If you want the real feel, go to Zillow.
and honestly, like the Zillow's not even that bad, but it's just this. I don't know. Maybe it's the cane guy, but the surrounding area, except for like the river, is super pretty and majestic. But
It's like the nicest area ever.
it's really, really nice. But you go outside.
The problem is the seclusion and the beauty of the property is also what would easily get you killed with nobody ever finding you, because there's not a single police officer in 30 miles of here, or anyone for that matter.
It takes a while to get out of these woods, like longer than you'd want. Nothing crazy.
So not coming from a background where like you've clearly been in a log cabin before, because my dad owns one, but like not coming from a place where you like lived in the woods ever, or
No.
like considered this a normal situation. Whereas I grew up on a mountain in Pennsylvania, which is basically, this is a mountain in Pennsylvania. So for me, it's like coming home. But she came in and started seeing all these locks on the doors. And,
yeah,
and
so,
was
like-
just like wondering what's going on. And I was like, that's just like
man.
a common thing. They're trying to keep
forgot.
black bears out.
The locks on the door.
What? 1, 2, 3, 4.
There's 1, 2, 3 doors in this cabin, and there's these gnarly like bolt locks. And one, okay, like it's a cabin in the woods, it's an Airbnb, you want to give that vibe, but there's 4 of them, and a couple of them are just for show.
Only the front door that's by the kitchen has bolts that are just for show, because
Honestly,
Mr. Bundy over there has the key for it. So
it's a
all
lie.
he
First
needs,
off.
what
That's
do you mean?
not
All he
funny.
needs is the key to
But
open
each door has 4 bolt locks on them. I'm just like, why do they need these gnarly bolt locks? It's really, really creepy. But is it that normal? I guess that's normal.
They don't
How
want
would I know?
coyotes coming in here and bum rushing the place for the Christmas roast. Do you know what I mean? No, I think it just has to do with like security, because you really couldn't really kick this down. Like, what if somebody was robbing your house or like kicking down your door out here? No, like nobody would hear you scream if you were screaming at the top of your lungs.
I'm just getting scared now thinking about that guy that lives next door.
All right, so we've survived the first night. Still never saw what was in the basement.
We don't need to. We're not here
The
for
lights
that.
on though down there.
Yeah, there's a crack in the floor, and there's like this little like area rug, like a little mini mat over it, but it keeps moving because it's not like stuck to the floor. It doesn't have those little pads.
Talk about the main thing that scared you.
The main thing that scared me.
I mean, what was the main thing? Because to be honest, that grocery store was the main thing that scared me.
Yeah. No, that like scared my stomach. It was like, no.
But if you want to get some good Chinese food,
Panda Kitchen.
Panda Kitchen in Stroudsburg.
There you go.
Hit it up. Tell them we sent you.
It's like weird. You don't crave Chinese food unless you're in a cabin in the woods, I guess. Because we haven't eaten actual Chinese food. Like Japanese food is different.
Yeah, I haven't had Chinese food in a long time.
The 2 nights we've been here.
That's it, but not for years before that.
Yeah.
How about you?
I actually don't remember. Because like sushi is just different. I don't know. I don't remember the last time. But he was outside riding this electric bike.
Yeah, so
the Foo car.
One of the things that we did when we were here, well, a company sent us an electric bike to show a video of it, like a review. So I was putting it together, and then I went on a ride to test it out on the road. And of course, as soon as he left,
knock.
Did you
on
think
the
it was
door.
me at first?
I thought it was you at first, so I went and then I was like, matter of fact, I guess like your intuition just chimes in. Like before I got to the door, I was like, that wasn't Turner. Like that wasn't him. So then I like walked back and then I heard again, but like louder. And I was like, that definitely isn't Turner. So I called him and he didn't answer. And I was like, what the fuck? Automatically getting mad at him. Like, why is he not here? It's because he was doing a product review for this bike.
I was ripping it down the road.
Yeah, he was testing out the bike, like
that
up
bike
the hill.
is so fast.
So then, and I had Finn on me. So I ended up like going and kind of like peeking out the window, and all I saw was a plaid like jacket.
Like a thermal.
But I knew
type
it was
of
a man.
jacket.
I only saw like his shoulder, and I was like, "There's a fucking guy in a plaid red jacket banging on the door." Because the last bang that he did had kind of like a scratching sound, and I was like, "No fucking way!" So like I was scared, mad, like. All these emotions, because like I'm just thinking like I really have no way of protecting me and my daughter if
What are the chances?
this guy is trying to hurt me.
What are the chances he was watching you in the hot tub last night in your underwear with binoculars?
He could have been. How would I know?
100%.
So-
He was just standing in the woods just far enough off the lighting and just standing there.
So I was just tripping out, and then I texted Turner. What did I text you?
You texted me. I can look
My
at it.
phone is.
It's right there. Should I grab it?
You can. I was actually scared.
I don't know why
guys.
she was texting me, obviously. I didn't answer my phone. But then she said, "There's a man knocking on the fucking door. Answer your phone. I'm scared." And then when I saw that, I was like, "What are you talking about?" So then I answered. And then I came back, and yeah, the guy was just there standing with his cane.
He had a cane.
So he was
okay?
knocking with the cane, and then he was knocking and then scratch. Doesn't that what you said? Like that's what it
last
sounded
set
like.
of knocks had a scratching.
Like he
sound,
was
like
knocking
coming
with
down
the
on
cane
door,
and then
I was
bringing
like,
it down
No
the
fucking way,
door.
dude, this is happening. I was tripping out.
And now you know why there's so many bolt locks on the door.
But it's, he wasn't. I don't know. I was scared. So I heard Turner talking to him, saying like, "Why are you knocking on the door?"
I was literally like, "Yo, my wife thought you were gonna murder her."
So
and he
I
was
came
like,
out.
"What'd you say?" And I was like, "Yeah, my wife thought you were gonna kill her."
I came outside with Finn because then I was like, all right, I'm good. He's here. He's gonna protect me. So the guy was old. He was
Yeah, he was just looking for someone to talk to.
That's what he was. That's what they want you to
He
think.
did ask about the bike in a really weird way, and then not care anything about it when I started talking about
you
it.
asked why he was knocking on the door. That's the first thing you asked him, and he said he wanted to know about the electric bike. Correct?
Yeah, that is what he said.
He said he wanted to know about the electric bike.
Yeah, but that caught me off guard because I was like, oh, he just saw me on the electric bike. He wanted to talk about it. But the reality is, when I started talking about it, he just changed the subject. He didn't care at all about the bike, and
He
I
didn't
just
care about the
it
bike.
went right over my head because I was like, oh, all right, he's just old.
We have
so like,
footage of that.
he wasn't hearing me correctly, but like really, he just didn't care about the electric bike.
We had footage of him, this interaction, and then him opening up and briefly saying, like, I have cancer. It's something about, like, beating it. Still a little bit, like, scared and had a guard up when he was saying that. And I'm the type of person, like, if somebody opens up so quickly like that I want to sit there and talk to them. But I didn't get that feeling from him. It was more so a feeling. Because I'm a really sympathetic, empathetic person. Then he's older.
It's the setting. It's the fact that all the stuff happened, and that he
It's the
was
fact that he
knocking on the
lied
door
from the bat. He didn't care about the electric bike.
Yeah, maybe, but also I got terrible vibes from the situation. But it's probably just the setting, because he probably was just like innocently just looking for someone to talk to.
He had stitches in his ear,
blood running down his
blood.
ear.
And his fly was down. Okay, I know some people would be like, "Oh, you're a terrible person. Like, he's just an old guy who's lonely out in the woods." But honestly, I don't give a shit. I have a 4-month-old daughter, so my whole deal is to protect her. So I wanted to see what was going on.
Yeah,
and
I mean,
you have to be cautious. You have to be cautious.
It's a neighborly thing to do, but he clearly knows it's an Airbnb, so like we're not his neighbors. And then when I asked him who lived here before, he basically, in a really crazy roundabout way, explained me and her as if we lived here.
Which I came to that conclusion on our way back from getting the Chinese food, because did you ask him who lived
I said
here?
who, because, okay, I was curious because the house had only been bought in like last year by the
It's
Airbnb
freaking me
company.
out.
So like I knew that the Airbnb company like put a new toilet in. They brought in a claw-fitted tub. They put new kitchen appliances
put a
in.
lot
They
of
put
work in.
all these awesome decorations, and they made it really nice. So then I was just thinking like, okay, this place is super, super cool. I know the Airbnb company put money into it to make it this good, but who would let somebody lose this house? So I was curious, and if he said he lived there for 40 years, he obviously knew the people. But what did he say?
He said, and like I said, everything he was saying was very brief, and he didn't really want to listen to anything we were saying. That he couldn't really hear, so he was acting like. And he was saying that, oh, a Japanese girl, and then he said, and then the guy was the same guy where the reindeers.
He said where the reindeers are from. And the thing is, I didn't think about it until later, but all day today, before I was riding the bike, not all day, but for like a good hour and a half, I had this outfit on.
Yeah, because I had told him.
And I was running around in the yard because I was doing the intro for the bike video. So like he obviously saw me running around. So he was talking about me, and he might have thought Sammy was Japanese. So unless it was just like a coincidence, I don't know.
Because on our way back from getting Chinese food, I was like,
the guy that lived
explain
here
to you that he's an
was
older
from the
guy.
North Pole. That's what he said.
He's an older guy, an older white man. I can say this, an older white man who probably looks at every Asian girl and thinks they're Japanese, because I'm not Japanese. And then he was saying,
"What are you, by the way?"
The guy, you know what I am.
They don't.
My dad's Italian, Polish, and Russian, and then my mom is Thai and Laos. But
so what's Finn then? All right, go on with the story.
Finn is a lot of things.
All right, let's hear this.
So
he didn't kill you. Moral of the story. He was
yes.
trying to borrow a cup of cream for his coffee.
No, that is not what he was doing.
Basically.
And I could just be being like an overprotective person.
Not sure, because when we ordered on Uber Eats, the kid thought we were going to kill him because of where this location is.
As he should.
and almost canceled the order even though he was in the vicinity for 20 minutes looking for the house.
It's better to be safe than sorry. I like that saying. So I was telling you when we were on our way back from getting the Chinese food, he's probably just like, if he actually, is not doing well, or I don't know, it just happens when you get older. You start losing your mind a little bit. Your mind goes. That happens to a lot of people. So I was saying that maybe he saw you in your Santa outfit when you were outside for like hours.
And then what? He thought I lived here? What do you mean?
No, that's just like, he just like made something up, which is what I am saying.
Well, also he said that they had...
He made this up on the spot.
So he said they had 5 kids, right?
Yes.
They.
Wait,
that's what he first said. He said they had 5 kids.
You didn't tell me this when I was telling you the Santa thing.
And you said later in the conversation after he was explaining all the different kids, you were like, "Oh, you had 5 kids," and he's like, "Yep, I had 5 kids."
One of them is my best friend. They started talking about the hunting.
He just didn't know what was going on.
Okay, maybe that's it. Maybe he is sick.
But it did throw a curveball.
His fly being down.
No,
and
it threw a curveball because he was out of it.
Stitches. No.
It threw a curveball. Yeah, he fell and hit his ear on something.
Okay.
Because he was out of it, and because of his age, and because we're not from this area, it threw a curveball in the situation of being like, is this guy an innocent older guy that just lives next door? Or is he an axe murdering maniac that lives in the mountains and will bury our bodies and get rid of our car and put it over in the other area? Because the Uber Eats kid was like, what is going on with that house next door? Is it abandoned? Like, I was freaking out. And yeah, it's weird.
All right, so should we have breakfast with him tomorrow? I don't like...
The older guy? He said he wanted to give you a white wine spritzer. That's what he said when he was walking away.
That's what he said.
Yeah. Or something like that.
You're lying, this guy.
That's what I think he said. I'm pretty sure that's what he said.
Either way.
So we're here.
You just always have to have your guard up when you're in unfamiliar territory, especially me. I'm not a woods person or whatever. Like, I love the outdoors is really, really nice. But when you're secluded and, getting out of the driveway and off this property is kind of
you'd never make
difficult.
It out of here if someone was after you.
Yeah. So naturally as a human, I think especially because like I was here a couple of times alone for an extended period of time with just me and Finn. So it's just you just naturally think about.
You think it's just your
what
mind?
Would I do?
Like your mind playing tricks on you?
My mind likes to play tricks on me, but it's not a trick. It's a defense mechanism.
So the reality of it is too, like in the horror movies when they run off and then they make it out and they're like, oh, the road. This area is exactly what would happen where like you get picked up.
Yeah.
And he starts taking you right back to where you started. And you're like, no, wait, where are you going? I want to go away from here. And he just starts smiling because he's related to the other people.
It's like, sorry, just got to make a stop down the road real quick, and now I'll get you to where you're going. Dude, that is what he would be doing.
Yeah, and he brings you right back to where you started. That's it.
Well, I'm glad that you're here to protect me.
All right. So that was the story.
That was the story, guys, and we're really tired, mind you. Can I have a pee break, sir?
Yeah, let's do a pee break.
Santa,
what do you mean?
Because
you're acting like you're not the one conducting the whole situation. All right.
I'm the conductor.
And if you guys wait till the very end, we might have a special guest. Or not. I mean, if the guy comes back or not, I don't know if he's coming back.
That's not even